All right. Good morning, Mrs. Sprang. It's good to see you for the third time in about the past 10 minutes.
It's good to see you too, Dr. Andy.
I think this is going to be the take. I'm feeling good about this one.
I am too. I think we've got it this time.
I admire your confidence, but we'll have to see how this plays out. Well, Twiggle, that is a good point, but we're going to try our best. All we can do is try. Right, Henrietta?
That's right, Twiggle. How are you doing today, by the way?
I'm doing well. It's so good to see you. I've missed hanging out.
I've been missing hanging out with you too. In fact, I've been feeling a little sad lately.
Oh, well, I've been feeling a little sad too. Tell me, what's making you sad?
Well, what's making me sad is I miss playing with all my friends at Montgomery Nursery School.
Oh, I miss that too. I miss all the boys and girls, and I miss the teachers too.
Oh, me too. We have the best teachers at Montgomery Nursery School.
Oh, so good, so fun.
hmm
So many interesting names.
This makes me feel sad.
Well, that makes me feel sad too. Twiggle and Henrietta, I think a lot of people are feeling sad right now for those same reasons that we can't see our friends.
It's really hard when we can't go to school and we can't see our friends and our teachers. It's understandable why you might be feeling a little sad.
I'm glad you were able to talk about it, say it out loud.
Me
Well,
too.
Dr. Andy, I've been having an uncomfortable feeling too. Oh, well, tell me about it, Twiggle. I've been feeling kind of worried.
Twiggle, what are you feeling worried about?
Well, I'm just worried about when I'm going to be able to see my friends again and when we'll be able to go back to school. And I'm just worried about what we're going to do. This is very different.
It is different. Twiggle, I think I'm feeling that way too.
I think a lot of people are feeling worried right now because we don't know what's going to happen next. I think a lot of kids and a lot of grown-ups have those questions about when will we be able to go back to school and go back and see our friends and stuff. And it's hard because we don't know the answers to those questions right now. I know that a lot of grown-ups are working on figuring out a way for us to be able to go out and do more things, but we don't know when that'll happen. And a lot of times when we don't know what's going to happen, that's when we get really worried.
It is. Well, Dr. Andy, do you think it might be helpful if we talk to the boys and girls about what it looks like and feels like to feel sad and worried?
I think that's a great idea to maybe talk about those two uncomfortable feelings, remind the boys and girls how to be feelings detectives so they can recognize when they are feeling sad and worried or when the people around them are.
Yeah, and I remember from our last lesson that there are some places that we look when we're trying to be a feelings detective.
Yeah, should we look at some clues?
Let's look at some clues.
So, Mrs. Sprang, I'm trying to remember, do I show the first slide or do you?
I think you do.
Okay. Look at that, we're getting there. All right. So here is a picture of a boy who is sad. And as we talked before, when we look for clues about how people feel, we want to look at the face, especially the eyes and the mouth, and we want to look at their body language. So as we look at this boy, we see a couple clues. We see that his eyes look sad. It even looks like there's some tears there. We can also see that he's kind of curled up and kind of hugging his legs and looking down. So his body language is telling us that he is sad. So that boy is sad.
He does look sad.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm going to share a picture. This is a picture of a woman, and this woman is feeling sad.
She does look sad.
I can tell that she's sad for a couple reasons. The first, when I look at her mouth, I see that she has a frown. A frown is the opposite of a smile, and I can see that her mouth is turned down, her eyes are even turned down, and you know what? It kind of looks like she might be crying too.
I was just about to say that. I can't tell if she has tears, but it looks like she's about to cry.
It sure does. And you know what else? I noticed that her arms are kind of scrunched up, and she's sort of holding on tight. I can tell that this woman is feeling sad.
I wonder why this woman is sad.
I think maybe she's missing somebody that she loves.
Maybe she is. The one thing that we could not figure out earlier, Mrs. Sprang, is if she's missing Max or if she's missing Luke in this picture.
It's not clear. I feel like we'd have to go back and rewatch, but I do think that she's sad about something very important.
That seems like a good guess. Should we look at some other pictures?
Yes.
All right. So I'm getting there, Mrs. Sprang. So here is a picture of a woman who is sad. This is our friend, Mrs. O'Shea, and she looks sad right here, doesn't she?
She really does.
So if we were going to be feelings detectives and look at her face, we can see that her eyes look sad. They're kind of scrunched closed and they're kind of pointing down a little bit. I don't see tears yet, but it looks like they could come at any minute.
Mm-hmm.
And we can also see that she is frowning. She looks sad. Why do you think Mrs. Joshi is sad?
I think she is sad. I think she is sad because we aren't able to be in her classroom to do the PADS lesson this week.
I think she probably is sad about that.
I think that's what it is.
All right. Do you have any other pictures, Mrs. Sprang?
I do. I have one more picture I want to show you. So here's a picture of another woman who is sad.
Oh.
She looks sad, doesn't she?
She does look very sad.
If I'm being a feelings detective, the biggest clue that I see right now is her mouth. It looks like she has a frown, and it almost even looks like her bottom lip is sticking out a little bit. That's sometimes what happens before someone's about to cry.
That's another clue that a lot of people have. Start to stick out their bottom lip.
Dr. Andy, why do you think Mrs. Unger-Bueller is feeling sad?
I bet she's feeling sad because she can't be at school and see all of her friends in the Bears class.
I think you're probably right about that.
Mrs. Ferris Bueller looks very sad.
Do you think that we should talk a little bit about a different uncomfortable feeling now?
I think we should. So Twiggle and Henrietta also talked about how they were feeling worried, and that's an uncomfortable feeling that people have sometimes. So maybe we should chat about that.
Okay.
So here is a drawing of a boy who is worried. And as we look at this picture, we can see that he's kind of curled in with his body language. He's kind of maybe chewing on his fingernails or sucking on his thumb or something like that. He has his hand toward his mouth. And that's something that people do when they're worried sometimes. We can also see that his eyes are open kind of wide and looking down. So we can see some clues on his face that this boy is worried.
So Dr. Andy, I'm noticing that this reminds me a little bit of feeling sad. Can you feel sad and worried at the same time?
Absolutely. And in fact, a lot of times when we have uncomfortable feelings, they get kind of mixed together. So it's really common for feeling sad and feeling worried and maybe even feeling a little mad or frustrated to get kind of mixed together.
Okay. I'm going to show a picture of a girl who is feeling worried.
I look forward to seeing that picture. Take your time.
This is a picture of a girl who is feeling worried.
Oh, she is worried.
Her eyes, they almost look like they're kind of open a little bit wide. Her eyebrows are a big clue in this one here. They're kind of pointing down, like she's really thinking hard about something. And her mouth is even open a little. It's kind of turned down in a frown, but almost like a little bit of a surprise as well. This girl is feeling worried.
Mrs. Sprang, do you remember why this girl is worried?
I do. I think it's because she sees Skip the mailman coming, and he is bringing in her acceptance letters for college. So she is a young senior who's eagerly looking to go to college in the fall, and she's curious to know which school she'll go to.
I watched an episode yesterday where Rory was also worried. She went to a Life and Death Brigade event and was participating in the stunt, and so she was worried about being up very high.
You know, those are all things to be worried about. This girl is definitely worried.
Indeed. Let's see if we have some other pictures of people who are worried. So this is a picture of a woman who is worried. This is our friend, Mrs. Miller. And so as we look here, we can kind of see, kind of like before, her eyes are open a little wide. She also has her hand to her mouth, which people do sometimes. So she looks worried. Mrs. Sprang, why do you think Mrs. Miller is worried?
I think Mrs. Miller might be worried because she has a dog, and that dog's name is Milo. And I wonder if maybe she's worried about something that Milo has done in the house.
Oh, dogs will get into shenanigans.
They do sometimes.
Mm-hmm. That's something I worry about. Do we have one more?
I've got one more photo. This is a picture of another woman who is feeling worried.
She looks worried.
She looks worried. It kind of looks like her eyebrows are a big clue here too. They're kind of scrunched down. And it also looks like her mouth is a frown and almost has like she's just a little bit nervous about something. So I think that Mrs. Darsham is feeling worried.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think she could be worried about, Dr. Andy?
You know, that's hard to say. I wonder if she's worried about when she will get to come back to Montgomery Nursery School and see the boys and girls. Because
I'm sure that's what she's worried about. I'm sure that's right.
Yeah. So we have talked we've talked quite a bit about those two uncomfortable feelings, about feeling worried and feeling sad. And I think it's really important to recognize when we feel that way and to be able to talk about it with grown-ups. But I wonder if we should also talk about ways that we can feel a little more comfortable, to try to feel happy or to feel calm and relaxed. Mrs. Sprang, do you have any ideas about things the boys and girls can do to feel comfortable?
You know, I do. So even though we can't come to school, our teachers are working really hard to try to bring school to the families at home. And so one way that kids could maybe feel happy, or it could maybe make them feel better to see their teachers, is that they could watch their teachers reading a book. So a lot of our teachers have recorded some of their favorite stories, and we're sharing those with the families each week. So that's one way. Another way is that we have lots of online things that parents can print out or do so that kids can have school at home with their families. So even though it's not the same, it could make them feel a little bit happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
ideas too.
I love those ideas. I was thinking about some of the things that my family has tried to do to have fun at home, and I thought it might be fun for you and I to share some of those ideas. So one thing we've been trying to do to have fun at home is to get outside and play more. We've been riding our bikes more and playing in the backyard. And one thing that we've been doing that's been a lot of fun is we've tried to have bonfires more because it's fun to sit outside by the fire and it smells nice and it's nice and relaxing. So that's something that families can do. Another thing that we've been trying to do is cook more as a family. In fact, we've been using a new cookbook we received, Cook Like the Gilmores.
Nice.
So we've been trying to make new things out of that. Last week we made Suki's risotto.
We made that at our house too.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have the saffron?
No, we did not.
We did not have saffron either, so we just made it regular, and it was good. Mrs. Sprang, what have you been doing at your house?
So a lot of those same things, Dr. Andy. We have been doing a lot more cooking and baking as a family together. We've made bread, which was a new adventure for us. And yesterday we tried to make a pie, which was fun. We've been doing a lot of art projects at home. So a lot of painting, a lot of sidewalk chalk, and we've been playing outside a lot too. So we've been trying to make this time a little extra special and extra fun.
So those are just a couple of things that our families have been doing. I wonder if the boys and girls might be able to have their parents share some of the things that they're doing for fun in the comments below so other people can get ideas.
I love that because, we've been doing a lot of these things for a while now. It would be fun to hear about what other people are doing, and maybe we could try those things at home too.
I think that's great. I'm always looking for new fun stuff to do.
So Dr. Andy, if any of our families are having a hard time at home or are just seeing some difficulties with being able to change feelings from sad to happy, what do you recommend?
So I think the first thing to keep in mind is that's normal right now. Everybody's having trouble with feeling a little sad or a little worried or maybe even a little frustrated with how things are different than they would normally be right now. So it's important to remember that that's normal. But if some of our families are having trouble with those things, I think a great thing to do would be to reach out to us, so that we can kind of talk through some of those problems, whether those issues are with school-related things or feelings or behaviors. Even though we're not in the same building all the time anymore, we're still a team and we're still a family. So I know you and I would love to talk to parents and help them problem solve some of that.
Yeah, I think that sounds wonderful. Well, I hope that all of the boys and girls watching are having a happy day. And I hope that that helps you to understand a little bit more what sad and what worried looks like.
I hope so too.
All right.
We should do this again sometime soon.
I would love that. I think that's a great idea.
I think that would be great. I think it would be great too.
Me too.
All right. Boys and girls, have a great day.
Yes. Goodbye, friends.
Goodbye, friends.